All right, Chapter 5, Section 3. We are going to start working with the slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. If you take a look up here, you're going to see up on this right here, we're going to start working with these in this chapter. This poster right here, you may want to take a picture of with your phone later. This is y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. That's good. What is the m? Slope. We always talk about the slope using the letter m. This is my slope. What's my b? What is the y-intercept? Where it crosses the y-axis, right? So if I look at this and I have some point, here's my y-axis, it's wherever it touches. So let's say right there, and let's say this number was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then in here, that would be your y, that'd be your b, is your 6. Where it touches, this is where it touches that y-axis. Okay? Now what are we going to have to use for this section? We are going to have to be able to find our slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is something we worked on, slope we did in section 1. All right? And you're going to have to be able to use y equals mx plus b. Those are two equations you're going to have to use. If I'm going to find my y equals mxb, I'll need to know what my slope is, right? Yes.
What are the numbers that, like, they look like,
Coordinates?
Power?
Power x squared?
They look like a power, but they're on the bottom.
Oh, this is just signifying two different things. So when you, yeah, let me show you what that is. I give you two different coordinates, x1 and y1, okay? And what that signifies is that's just an x1, that's just my first x variable. I could have called this just x and y, right? And it'd be the same thing. And here's the difference. If I have another coordinate, I'm going to call that x2 and y2. So I could have called this m and n. It's just signifying that it's a different variable. It's not squaring it or anything like that. It's just telling me it's a different variable. So this could, my x1 could be my x, y1 could be my y, my x2 could be my m, my y2 could be my n. It's just telling me it's a different variable. And you will see things where you have x1, x2, x3. All that says is that's a different variable. This could be written as A, B, and C, for that matter. Okay? But what will happen is, eventually you'll get into things where you go x1 up to x100. 100 different variables. Okay? That's why they don't use the alphabet for every one of them, because it would never reach. There's only 26 letters. Does that help? Does that help? Okay. So, we need to figure out a couple different things here. We're going to find slope in this assignment. We're going to find where does it hit the y-axis? All right. How do we get it to hit the y-axis? So, if I'm giving you, let's say, two coordinates, 3, 5, and 2, 1. Okay? I'm giving you two coordinates. I'm going to graph this real quick. Just take a look and see what does this line really look like. We're at 3, 5, and we're at 2, 1. So here's my line. Okay? Where does it look like that line crosses the y-axis? Somewhere in the negative, right? Well, let's figure out if that's what really happens. Does everybody see? This is where it crosses the y-axis right here. It looks like negative. So let's figure out if that's where it really is. First thing we need to do is we need to find the slope of the line. Let's find that slope. My m equals, on top, my y's, my difference in my y's, right? Delta y, my change in y, is 5 minus 1. On the bottom, 3 minus 2. So it equals 4 over 1, or 4. So right now, I know when I put this in, y equals 4x, because that's my slope, right, plus b. We have to figure out what our b is in this case. Well, if I take a look at, let's see, I got my slope in there. Let's put one of those points in to this formula right here, okay? Doesn't matter which point. I've got my x, I got my y. Let's plug them in. Let's make my y is 5 equals 4 times x is 3 plus b. 5 equals 12 plus b. Yes. You can use either one. Either one. We'll do both of them. All right. Negative 7 equals b. Minus 12 both sides. I'm solving for that b, right? I subtract 12 from both sides. 5 minus 12 is minus 7. You just got to pick one. Let's do the other one. Let's do the other one. Okay, my y is 1. 4 times my x, which is 2, plus b. 1 equals 8 plus b. Minus 8 both sides, right? Minus 7 equals b. It doesn't matter which point I grab, and I plug that in. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right there. Doesn't matter which point I grab and I plug it in. Jared, do you see what I'm doing? Not really. Okay, notice my coordinates up here are x and y, right? I can put x and y on these too. It doesn't matter. I'm going to grab one of those coordinate points, and I'm going to plug it into this equation once I figured out the slope for it. Okay, so if I put this one in, let's say my y is 1, so I replace my y with my 1. See how I did that? And I replaced my x with my 2. And then I just started solving it. 4 times 2 is 8, right? So 1 equals 8 plus b, and then I subtracted 8 from both sides and found out my b is negative 7. I figured out my slope here, and I changed my, because remember, it's y equals mx plus b, right? Once you figure out that, then you put it in. Yep. So I figured out my m, right here is 4, and I plugged that in right there. And now I have to figure out what my b is. And to figure out my b, I grab one of these 2 points, and I put them in. I got my x and y value, and I put them in to here to figure out what my b is. Now my final answer. I now know what my slope is. I now know what my b is. My equation is y equals 4x minus 7. This is the equation of the line that we drew before. And where we got this equation from, were from these two coordinate points. Yes? One right here. Okay, that's my y. All right. And then my 2, which is 4 times 2, that comes from the x up here. All right.
I do remember this now. It's kind of, we split it back, kind of already did. I did in a way.
In a way, you've done some of this?
Putting in numbers.
Let's do another one, and I'm going to grab one from the assignment. You got her.
Aiden's like, well, the bullet just hit me right in the head.
Okay, we're going to start off first. I'm going to do a problem. I'm going to do one problem out of each section. Find the slope and the y-intercept and graph the equation. Don't worry about graphing it. You do not have to graph the equation. I want you to find the slope and the y-intercept. So if I look at this, knowing that my equation is y equals mx plus b, this is my slope, this is my y-intercept. What's my slope in this one? 1/2. M equals 1/2. What's my y-intercept? 7. That's all you have to do for that. What's that? Y-intercept? Is that what you're looking at? It's just y-intercept. All right, so that's real hard to do, right? You can do that. Let's take a look at the next section. Write an equation for the line giving the slope and the y-intercept. So they're giving you your slope, they're giving you your b. You've got this equation, y equals mx plus b. All you have to do is plug it in. This one here, y equals m, which is -3, x plus 7. I just had to plug it in. All you have to do. In that section there. On this section here, skip 19, you don't have to do it. On this section here, now you have to take these points, find the slope, find your y-intercept, and you have to put the equation down. So, if I was to do this, this is how I do this one. We've got 1, 3, and we have 2, 5. I'm going to find my slope first. First thing we have to find. M equals 1, I'm sorry, not 1, 3. Y on top. 3 minus 5 over 1 minus 2, which equals 2. 2 over 1, -2 over -1, which is just 2. Now I can do this. Y equals 2x plus b. We've got that much of our equation. Now I'm going to take one of my coordinate points here, and I'm going to plug it into here. I'm going to try with 1 and 3. My y is 3. My x is 1 plus b. 3 equals 2 plus b. b equals 1. I've got my slope, 2. I've got my b of 1. I'm going to rewrite this equation. Y equals my slope of 2, x plus my b, which is 1. There's your final answer. Negative. It's yeah. This is -2 over -1. All right? And that would be how you answer these. So I've done 1, I've done 7, and I've done 13. It's up to you guys to do the rest. All right? And you have just through 18 to do. All right?